Production support for InFocus is provided by Hoosier Energy, providing electricity for Central and Southern Indiana electric cooperatives and their member customers. Information at hepn.com, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
In 2009, more than 1.5 million Hoosiers volunteered their time, contributing nearly 206 million hours and $4.3 billion in services. Much of that time is attributed to young adults who face an increasingly competitive college admissions process and high unemployment rates. Many now look to utilize national and local service programs to improve resumes and, in some cases, earn college credit. Tonight, we put volunteerism and community service in focus. Thanks for joining us for this edition of In Focus. I'm Stan Jastrzebski. If you have questions for one of our studio experts during tonight's program, please email us at infocus@indiana.edu or call us at 1-800-987-9848. According to the Corporation for National and Community Service, from 2007 to 2009, the volunteer rate among young adults aged 16 to 24 was 21.6%. As a state, Indiana ranked 35th on the list, with about 1/5 of its young adults volunteering. According to the CNCC, the 5 mid-sized cities with the highest volunteer rates all have one thing in common. They have major universities. But there are many factors that influence who volunteers and why. The number of nonprofits per capita, unemployment rates, and how educated a community is all play a role. Colleges and their students have found a profound impact on the communities around them, but what happens when those communities that depend on a steady flow of college volunteers see the drive to volunteer become more a job than a passion? Those are just a few of the issues we'll address with our guests this evening. First, though, we go to the WFIU studios and my co-host, Shamika Neely. Hi, Shamika. Who's your guest this evening?
Good evening, Stan. Tonight, I'll be speaking with Senior Advisor of Corporation and National and Community Service, Susanna Washburn. She's joining us on the phone live from the nation's capital. That comes up shortly. Right now, Stan, back to you.
Thanks, Shamika. Joining us in the WTIU studios tonight are Leslie Lankowski, Professor of Public Affairs and Philanthropic Studies here at IU's School of Public and Environmental Affairs, Sarah Ryan, the Director of Civic Opportunities at DePauw University, and Abby Cooper, a Senior Education major here at IU. Thanks to the three of you for joining us tonight. I wanted to talk first about the issue of young people being the ones who volunteer. And Abby, we'll start with you and we'll come this way on the panel. I wanted to know if you think, in your experience, people of your age have something to teach adults about volunteering.
Oh, absolutely. I think college students have so much energy and so much excitement about volunteering. They're also eager to explore the community around them and to see what kind of volunteer opportunities exist in order to get involved in a new location. I know when I first started here in Bloomington, my friends and I really wanted to find some volunteer programs to get involved with because we enjoyed volunteering, but also to get to know Bloomington and to explore our new town.
Sarah, what about with the Bonner Scholars program that you're involved with at DePauw? What do you find from talking with both the students and with the people that they are placed with in terms of the learning and the back and forth about volunteering?
It's all about reciprocity, and I find that at DePauw, the Bonner Scholars are really one of our best resources. As Abby was saying, they're bright and they're motivated and they're wanting to get involved in the local community. And the community it welcomes them as learners and as folks who are involved in service to help meet community identified needs, help apply their in-class learning, and really get some great experience while doing it.
And Leslie, I'm assuming from the SPIA perspective, there's a lot of different ways that volunteering is applied on the community basis in terms of what the get back is and what the give back is from one side to the other.
Yes, we have a lot of classes at SPIA that build volunteer service into the classes. So students are not only learning about a subject in a classroom, but finding opportunities to put what they're learning to use working for one or another charitable organization. We also know here at Indiana University about half of all the seniors are like Abby, volunteering extensively, and that's great. In fact, recently, Indiana University was honored by the Carnegie Foundation with a classification as a university that is engaged in its community, and we are always looking for new ways to do that.
I'm curious what each of you thinks is the reason that makes the most sense in terms of, in the last 10 to 20 years, there's been a lot of press about how volunteerism has increased in this country, especially among teenagers and young adults. Leslie, we'll start with you and go down the panel the other way this time. What do you think has buoyed that trend?
Well, I'm going to be a little contrarian here because volunteering's actually been fairly flat overall. The 21.6% figure you quoted earlier for young people volunteering is lower than for any other age group, including senior citizens. So while there is a lot of volunteering, particularly actually among high school students, almost 100% of college-bound high school seniors are volunteering. As a nation, we still are not doing as much in our communities as we'd like and we could do. As you noted earlier, there's an exception in schools that have universities or colleges like DePaul with great traditions of service. But by and large, the idea that was popularized in the 1990s that Americans are bowling alone, that when they go to the bowling alley, they go with themselves, is probably truer for volunteering than for bowling. There's just not enough of it going on.
Well, that said, Sarah, what does a program like yours and the engagement side of DePaul University and places like it do to see that those numbers are positively trending, shall we say?
Sure. At DePaul, about 90% of our students are involved in some form of service, whether it's through the Bonner Scholars Program, Winter Turbine Service, DePaul Community Service, the Civic Intern Program. There are a lot of ways for students to engage. I think because we're a small community and a small campus, we have a lot of opportunities to build relationships together, and it's really part of our ethos at DePaul to be of service and to work on addressing those issues of the 21st century. You know, I think millennial students who are in college today, sometimes get a bad rap for being self-centered or self-focused. And what I found is that I am continually impressed with and humbled by the way that students put themselves out there to be of service, to try to solve community issues, and to find their passion along the way.
Abby, it might be difficult to sort of separate yourself from this because you I'm assuming, are involved with and friends with a lot of people who, like yourself, do a lot of volunteer work. Do you see that side of it more, or do you see that you are trying to get people always to do more and you're having to, in fact, push people to be more involved?
Well, you know, I have seen both sides of the spectrum because, like you said, I do spend time with a lot of people who are like me and like to volunteer a lot. But I have done a lot of recruiting for volunteer organizations I've been a part of, like College Mentors for Kids is one I've been working with for many years now. And I found with programs like that, a lot of the issue is awareness. College students, you have to get the word out, and it's all about the advertising and the putting posters up and telling people that A, there is a need, and B, here's how you can help to fill it. And I think through technology and through Facebook and some of the mediums that are so popular on college campuses, students are understanding some of the programs that are available and how they can get involved, and that they're really needed.
Sarah mentioned the millennial students. I wonder if you and the people you are talking with in terms of student volunteers think that there's this prevailing feeling that maybe, as we mentioned in the opening, that in the midst of a recession, in the midst of a competitive, more and more competitive college applications process, that if you're going to volunteer, you need to be getting something back for your time in order to see a return on your investment. Is there that feeling at all, do you think?
Well, I think there is, to an extent. I mean, I do believe that people like to volunteer just for the sake of volunteering. But of course, with the competition that there is today in getting into college and getting into grad school and getting jobs beyond college, people are looking for those extra resume boosters and things that are going to make them stand out among, you know, thousands of applicants. But, you know, I think it can work for the volunteer organizations if they're willing to understand that that's going to happen, and it can actually end up being a win-win, because if an organization needs volunteers and a person needs volunteer hours, if they show up and do the volunteer work with a smile on their face, you know, everyone wins.
All right, I want to get back to this discussion in just a minute.